that he left?
I didn't know he left. I was wondering why he wasn't on there as much, but I figured it would be something like that. I know he was big on their cross coverage stuff.
Yeah. He might come back to help commentate on the cross, but not do
streaming.
I liked it anytime they had him do a show. I liked the way they did the, like when he did gravel and explained gravel. All his stuff were quite entertaining because he's pretty.
And he's a good personality.
Yeah,
too.
he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. That's running. I think we're live. We're live.
I'm alive.
There's a song there somewhere, isn't there? What's that? I'm alive song. I don't know. Anyway. Hey, Paul.
I think it's growing on
there. The Packfiller podcast is about to begin. You can always follow the show through Instagram, Twitter, and even Facebook if you're still into that sort of thing. The show is streamed live every Tuesday at 6 o'clock Pacific on our Packfiller Productions YouTube channel, as well as on the Podbean app. You can call the show directly from Podbean and chat along in the discussion on both platforms. Now let's get to the Packfiller podcast. The music is pretty terrible.
I have to say, I would listen back to a couple of shows.
Yeah.
With one earbud in
It's not so
on my phone, it's not so bad. It doesn't. You don't get the full effect. Yeah.
Hey people, Club Packfiller, hurry up because the Gooder Boxes ship in April. If you want to get your Gooders and you want to join the full year for half price. Did I mention that it's over $250 in value? That is just $60 for the whole year of swag boxes, race entry, exclusive content, group rides, and so much more. You need to get to packfiller.com ASAP and click on the spring special. Join now because this only lasts through April, not to mention as many Gooders as we have. They are going fast. So big thanks to our friends over at Gooder. Check out the brilliant new styles making their way to you, and even a cycling-specific page broken down into cycling genres. They have actually broken it down to like road, gravel, commuting, and things like that. And a big happy anniversary to Gooder. And if you're listening to us live on Podbean or anywhere like that, guess what? They are 6 years old, and they have a huge special. I think it's free shipping right now on glasses over at Gooder. So go to Gooder right now while you're listening to this show, and you might be able to get that. 6 years of style, function, and fun thanks to Gooder. Also thanks to Mojo Cyclery, also celebrating an anniversary. 4 years for a bike shop. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but these are fucking brutal times.
4 hard years.
Yeah, 4 years as a shop. Be sure and check out the newest show to the Packfiller Cycling Network, the Mojo Diaries, which is actually coming out this week, hosted by yours truly, featuring a fun, somewhat lubricated group of gravel gurus having fun and trying not to worry about how long it takes or where they're going, and they were lubricated. It was actually kind of enjoyable. They're bourbon drinkers, which I didn't realize.
Nice.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
4 years. We know a guy that could open 4 bike shops in 4 years.
Oh yeah.
So
And then
just the
run
same
them out of
one.
business.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
Gotcha.
so 4 years is amazing.
Should I just talk over the theme?
Yep. Have a drink first.
I'm wondering if this soap is a little messy tonight. The beer doesn't smell good.
Can you smell? Can you taste?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back up.
I've had one shot, gentlemen. I've had one shot. I'm one in. So welcome to another audio foray into Life on Two Wheels, the Packfiller podcast. I am Pat Bulger, your master of ceremonies that can't really control the animals. Speaking of animals, gentlemen, you will be introducing yourselves tonight, and you're going to have to respond to the question of if you were an animal, you would most likely be blank. So, Paul Main, if you were an animal, you would most likely be...
A golden retriever.
No explanation needed. Jack Broadhead, if you were an animal, you would most likely be...
I'll go dog theme too. A blue heeler.
Nipping at the heels.
Yeah.
Shedding.
Never to be trusted, hiding in the corner.
Yeah. My mom had a blue heeler, and it pissed all over everything.
I do that.
Yeah. Even on
cold
himself.
days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cold days. I forgot about that. Jackson Bulger, if you were an animal, you would be...
Oh man, I'd probably be a narwhal. Not a lot of people see them, but out of nowhere, sometimes they'll just pop up.
Is that a fake animal?
No, it's real.
No, it's
Oh,
real.
yeah.
It's got a horn and everything.
Yeah.
The little thing coming out of it.
Is it a Harry Potter?
No, it's real.
Narwhal.
It is real.
I'm gonna Google it.
Narwhals are legit.
Where are they from? Australia?
No, they're up in the
Jesus,
Arctic.
Jack, just take our fucking word for it. They exist. It's not a
He's being a
jackalope.
blue healer right now.
He is a blue healer. Just
Nipping
shedding
at our
all over
ankles.
the
I've had
place.
5 of them. 5 healers. So.
Untrained nails tearing at my bar.
I know.
Me-
It might be my buttons.
Me, I think I'm a black bear.
Black bear.
Yeah, because they're big and hairy and unfortunately not very intimidating.
Looking for garbage, always eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You took it and really ran with it,
Well,
there,
yeah.
Paul. Thanks a lot, man. Fuck off. Hey, gentlemen, let's get to the show itself. How was the ride this week? How were the rides?
The one ride this week.
rides this week. I want to find out how people were riding. And let's start with Jackson in Portland, Oregon. Jackson, how was your riding week?
It's been okay. Yeah, the weather's been pretty good though. As you or others would know, a little video series to help recap one of my rides from last week. But yeah, and I also was able to ride indoors a little bit, but getting in what I can.
Tell me about. Okay, I probably need to say this before I forget about it. Tell me about the video series you're doing, because I'm technically supposed to know everything that goes on around here, but you're doing cool stuff. Tell me what this is.
So I am making a video series weekly that is called The Weekly Ride. So yeah, just kind of taking members who want to watch along with me to show them like life outside of the usual podcast, kind of give a little bit more personality than you just see or hear on this weekly show. So yeah.
Wow. So you're saying he's better than us?
Yeah.
But I understand that. He kind of
Yeah.
is. He kind of is. Jack Broadhead, what was
I
your
had a
riding
terrible-
week like? What was your riding
Terrible.
week like?
Terrible.
Terrible.
I was super busy that week last week, and I didn't get out till Saturday.
How was Saturday, though?
It was a little better than the Saturday before.
Yeah?
A little less wind, a little easier terrain. It wasn't 50-mile-per-hour winds.
There were not
All
50
uphill,
mile an hour
all
winds.
uphill, mostly gravel. And much easier terrain this week. But no, I mean, I feel a little bit better considering I didn't ride for 6 days and got on the bike.
Our cruise director was quite kind to you this
He
week.
was yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome.
Wow. You guys
It's only
heard
gonna
me.
get worse from here.
See,
It's
see me
all-
crying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's going uphill from here.
Fuck.
I didn't swear as much this week. Did you notice?
No, you didn't.
I was
And
not
it-
as whiny. I told my wife that when I got home. Well, I wasn't as whiny.
You weren't whiny.
A little bit, but not as whiny.
I found it enjoyable. I found it humorous.
the
when
pain
you,
I have to go through.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I kind of enjoyed that part of it. Paul, how's your riding week been?
I got out both, of course, Saturday and Sunday, but both of them started off with chaos, just trying to get the ride going.
Forgot about that.
That's a Jack thing.
Yeah, Jack suggested a coffee shop, and there's 4 of them.
Apparently, I suggested the
The one closest across the street from you.
Oh, it's a chain?
Yeah.
Meet me at Starbucks. No,
There's
we have
one
better
by
taste
my
than
house,
that.
too.
We have better
Yeah.
taste than that.
Yeah.
We didn't do that. But
They have good coffee there
Where?
at the ladder.
Oh, you had coffee. I didn't get coffee.
did.
Yeah, we had coffee waiting and
That'd have been
waiting
a-
until
I've been
you
much
texted
better.
and said, "Are you guys coming?" And I'm like, "Oh crap! I know
texted
there's
that at, like,
3
10.
other, but there's
Yeah.
yeah."
Yeah.
So and I just guessed you were at Monroe since.
to
that's
be
where
honest,
we
I was also wondering why you had us meet at a coffee shop that had shit for bike parking.
went.
There was none.
Oh, I don't even
one
know
downtown.
where the one is.
It's a cool building. Yeah.
We're
ladder.
Paul and I are there. Paul and I are there. We got our bikes outside, and we were thinking. I was contemplating leaving my bike just
I
within a
wasn't
window
gonna do
view, and I look over at a guy in a car, and I wish you could see me. The people watching at YouTube could see me. The guy in the car was just doing this.
Nope. Don't do it.
Shaking his head from side to side, like, don't fucking do it, guys. Don't
Where
fucking
is
do
that
it.
one?
It's on Brown's Edition, just
Yeah.
right at the point where they're on is it First? Yeah, no, Sprague. Sprague starts bending over. Station.
Really helpful for
Yeah.
other people who don't live in Spokane.
Yeah, I'm trying to help
Fuck
him
it.
out. Yeah,
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, we're never gonna meet there again.
that was the original one.
Paul
Okay.
got, but Paul, you got just the 2 in? Is that the whole week?
Yeah. Well, and I think I snuck out. I snuck out once during the week. I can't remember. I think it
Okay.
was just a short little one, but things are going to start sliding a little bit better. But Sunday's chaos was an old teammate, and he did the.
You can say his name. He's cool
Andre.
with me.
Yeah.
He's cool with me. He's been on the show before. So.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
and Andre says, "Hey, you want to go for a ride?" He's got a couple people on the list, and he says, "Let's meet down in Brown's." And then there's another. Here we go again.
Ladder
There's
Coffee.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Did he
it
say
wasn't Ladder.
Brown's? 'Cause
He,
nobody
he
said
did
Brown.
Brown's, and there's another coffee shop that's
I
really.
know a Google thing was sent out.
Yeah.
Like, go
There's a
here.
Ladder Coffee in Addis Ababa.
Okay. Yeah, I bet there is. Yeah.
But anyway, there's a really nasty coffee shop that's in the right by
Uh-oh.
the Elk.
The
Yeah.
seedy part of town.
No,
Elk.
yeah, by the
I know,
Elk.
I know.
And I wasn't going to drink their coffee, but
Oh.
anyway, got there. I'm the first one there. Wait. Andre shows. He's 5 minutes late. Then I said, who else is coming? And he lists that of the other three that were listed, only one's coming. And then at 10:15, the guy texts and he goes, it's 10:30, right? That's when the ride is? No. So the text
Oh.
goes back. So we waited there, and then Andre says, I'm going to buy you a coffee.
What?
And I said,
I
okay.
don't drink coffee here.
He was in line for 20 minutes, and there's only one person in front of him. And then he goes, how bad do you want coffee? I said, here? I'm not going to. No, let's go. So then we rolled out, and then the guy shows up.
I'm getting angry.
Yeah, this is Sunday's ride, although I got nearly 40 miles. It was not good quality miles. And the guy's really nice, but he didn't tell us that he had a short leash. He only had an hour to hour and a half
He's
ride.
late to the ride, and I can only ride for an hour.
This is why I like having no more than 5 people. 5, maybe 6.
So COVID's
people.
been kind to your riding plans.
Mhm.
Okay, I want to break this down. I'm completely going off script here. I have so many things to talk about on this show, but there are so many things you just mentioned, Paul, that that broke my personal rules.
Oh, I thought you were going to stop. There's so many things that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Chatterbox.
Yeah. but okay, first of all, a ride time is a ride time. What's your window of allowance in a ride time? Jackson, you're new at this. Are you as anal retentive about this shit as I am? Have I passed this down?
He's too nice.
Yeah, he is.
No, see, I like to be there early. I'm always that type of way. I live a mile away from the school that I go to, and I leave a half an hour before.
Beforehand?
Yeah, before the class would have started,
Yeah.
if I needed to be there on time. So I like to be there early, for me at least.
In other words, you're professional and you respect other people's opinions and stuff like that. Now, okay, if you fucked up the start of the time of the ride, that's one thing, right? And I don't want to bash on this guy because all I know is because Andre's a good guy and this might be a friend of his, and I don't he's like best
And a
man
friend of mine, too.
Guy's my
so.
best man at my wedding, you motherfucker. Be nice or something like that. But if you're gonna be late for a ride, you better fucking text or something like that at this point in time. Or you say, guys, go without me. I'm late. I fucked up. Second of all, the ride distance and the plan is supposed to be. I guess that's why we put everything in your hands all the time.
All right.
Dad.
No, because
Mom.
I hate the confusion. I hate the confusion about where we're going and what ride we're going to do. What's the route? What's the plan? And that you just kind of taken that on within our group, and I love that.
He's got the route.
Yeah, he's like, we're going to go here, we're going to do that, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
We're gonna go
fuck.
this hard
Okay.
for
Yeah.
this long.
Yeah.
Because I like to hear people moan when I tell them.
Can you hear me back there?
Yeah.
It's Pat laughing, not me whining.
Both.
So anyway, so that just so many ride.
I give them
etiquette,
5
isn't it?
minutes.
5 minutes
You
seems
better
fair.
text.
Yeah.
It say in that 5 minute buffer. I'm rolling out 5 minutes after, unless I get a text in that time. But if you text me and say, "Hey, I need another 15," I'm like, "We're going this
Yeah,
way. Find
meet
a
us
short."
there, yeah.
Yeah.
When it was 10 o'clock when I got to that ladder, the wrong ladder, and I sent out that text like, you guys are coming, right? Because I just want to make sure that we firmed up a ride. It seemed unusual that you guys weren't there.
Well, and we've done that before.
like,
you and I have met at a different Rocket, which is
Well,
another
yeah, there's
brand of
another one,
coffees
yeah.
in Spokane. You know,
But
and-
don't you think there's even a little more humor in this story because
We did it again with
Yeah,
the same.
Don't you remember?
So-
We said we'll meet at
Maybe you didn't
Indaba.
even catch on to that.
oh,
So
we did. Yeah, you fucked up the coffee shop twice.
and I fucked it up. Wait, how's it?
Yeah.
I fuck. Anyway, so
Bec-
I
because
assumed
there were two of us and
first.
one of you.
Yes,
so
that
you're
is-
obviously
that is
the loser.
true. That is true.
Jackson's sitting there going,
assumed-
"Are we going to talk
Yeah.
about bike racing?"
Yeah.
I assumed
I
you
was
guys
on
were
the
coming.
the whole time, so I knew what was going on.
You were.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is laughing his ass
Yeah.
off. I thought you
Glad I'm
guys.
not there.
I thought for sure you're coming across the Monroe Street Bridge. I never would have thought you'd take
The trail over.
the trail and then up the corkscrew.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I never would have thought that. You know,
That's a
what I mean?
lot more pleasurable than
I
dealing with
bet, I
traffic,
bet.
yeah.
And so I thought, well, they'll ride by me going past one to the other, and then I start scrolling, and just like the 10 o'clock hour, I'm like, okay, they should be here by now. Then I'm gonna start texting you. I was texting you, and then Paul calls me. I even rode like halfway back to the Monroe Street Bridge to see if I could see you guys, and
I have a buddy who once was walking across the Monroe Street Bridge. Now, this is a completely Spokane-based story, and I'm going to probably lose half the listeners. But imagine, if you will, a long bridge across the river, and because it's across the river and it's really high up, the sidewalk is completely fence contained, right over the top. Yeah, it's a cage. You're basically
that's
walking in
Maple.
a cage. Okay,
Monroe
I'm thinking
Street's
of Maple.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell my Maple Street Bridge. It's a great story. And he says he's walking across a bridge, and an elderly woman is walking towards him. And she is obviously uncomfortable with this person walking towards him, this friend of mine. And as he gets closer, she stops. And I shit you not. Well, I can shit you because I don't know. I wasn't there. But he tells me that this woman stopped, she squatted, and she peed on the sidewalk of the bridge and stuck her hands in the pee and held her hands out to the guy saying, "Bring it on, motherfucker!" like he was gonna hurt her or something like that. So her defense was to have the wherewithal to pee on the sidewalk, put her hands in it, and then approach somebody.
I think pee on command is like,
It's pretty good.
yeah, it's really
Nowadays, you just cough and you're good to go.
at our age. Yes.
I was going, this woman was pretty goddamn inventive, you know, I guess at that last second. So anyway, my week, I actually listened to my body last week. I was supposed to have another week of fairly decent mix of training starting on Tuesday. Tuesday I can't remember what my excuse was on Tuesday, but I didn't ride on Tuesday. Wednesday, I because I'm doing some trainer stuff. Paul, I'm sorry. And I got on the trainer to do a pretty decent workout on the Sufferfest called the Shovel, which is actually pretty brutal. And I started off, and everything in my body was going like, no, you can't do this. You can't. And I was trying to hit the numbers that I normally would comfortably, and my legs were hurting. And my heart rate was up, and I was just like, whoa, okay. My whoop told me that I was recovered.
that you were
My
recovered.
whoop said I was recovered, but it was also taking my daily non-cycling days, and they were higher numbers. Like it was a higher strain. So let's say I'd get a 5-point strain throughout the day of being at work. It was 7 or 8. And I was looking at that going, okay, I'm going to take the rest of the week off. And I took Wednesday, after that ride, I just stopped halfway through and just kind of soft pedaled up to an hour. And I took Thursday and Friday off, and then I rode with you guys on Saturday, and then I rode again on Sunday. And both Saturday and Sunday, I felt a lot better.
When did you get your COVID shot?
Friday. And boy, the way, I'll tell you, my shoulder, now I can lift it above my head, but it was sore that first day. So second one's coming April 2nd. Booyah! But anyway, so it was interesting paying attention to some of that stuff. And I think we've all done that, except we didn't have these numbers at our fingertips. where we, power data, all those types of things, where you just kind of get on the bike and go, I kind of feel shitty today. I'm going to blow off the week. So I was really glad I did, because Saturday, I know we weren't, busting balls on Saturday, but I
Did
felt
you win
pretty
that
good on
sprint?
Saturday. No,
Oh, you kicked
I did
his
not
ass.
win the sprint.
I watched it all, and I couldn't tell who.
We had a
You know,
city
at the
limit.
end. You're
sprint.
so
Yeah.
far ahead by the time, because he jumped with like a quarter mile or half mile
I
to
jumped
go.
way too early.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh my God.
And then
I've been waiting for that, by the way, and I failed. I've been waiting for some entering Spokane sign, and I cannot remember where they are for the life of me.
I bet you know where that one is now.
I don't know what road
Oh,
we're
yeah.
on.
oh god,
He's
that
still
was
asking for
famous.
the address of
It's
this
a-
I
place.
know, all right.
Yeah.
But I did honestly stand up and put one pedal stroke into this effort and sat my ass back down and watched. Wasn't worth it.
But that day felt pretty good. In fact, after you and I broke off, I was like
Yes,
going,
jerk.
well, no, I knew you were going to get mad at me.
No, I'm not.
But I was just like, maybe I'll just kind of cruise around the South Hill a little bit, get a little more miles, because Paul's going to probably ride fucking 7 hills on Sunday, and I don't want him to crush me too bad. And then the next thing I knew, I dropped down Hatch, and I did a little extra hour plus, and then I
Wow.
did another climb, and stuff like that. And so I did about an hour or more or something like that, and that was about it.
About 20 more miles.
Yeah.
Fuck, I went home and drank beer.
Yeah, I got home and there was a text from you with an open bottle of beer, so I saw that.
Yeah,
at that
I
point.
took the kids to Riverfront, and we sat and drank beer. And is
That's
that
a
illegal?
Great
kids
dad
didn't.
right there.
No. They might have.
Great
Oh, yeah, I
dad.
could have.
I could have.
I was passed out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's only one. I only had one.
It's a session.
Yeah.
It's an all-day
No,
beer.
that was a space test. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you guys, let's get to it, shall
Are we
we?
going to talk bike racing?
Yeah, we should. Levels are too low. In the news, holy shit, let's get to the headlines, shall we? I guess the biggest one right now is Primoz Roglic lost out on a Paris-Nice victory on the final day of the race after crashing twice on a short 92.7 kilometer stage. The Slovenian, who held a 52-second lead over Bora Hansgrohe's Max Schachmann, or Maximilian Schachmann, if you were listening to it on TV, heading into the day, first hit the deck early on an early descent after passing through the finish line on a hilly 36K circuit. He was quickly back up and running, albeit torn shorts. Very torn shorts. Guy looked like he fell on a cheese
body,
grater.
yeah.
And road rash on his left hip. Still understatement of the year, but later went down once again on the same descent, unseen to television cameras, I guess. So while racing on the valley some 25K out from the finish, he was caught out in a split on the peloton, and it quickly emerged that he had crashed for a second time, suffering a tear in his shorts on the right side too. So my first question is, who picked Primoz Roglic for
We all did.
this race?
Yeah. We all did.
Yeah.
Sorry, Primoz. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we all failed him.
Yeah.
Jinx.
You didn't add that he on the first crash he dislocated his shoulder and
shoulder,
put it
yeah.
back in.
Oh fuck! I didn't know
himself.
He put it in.
He looked
Oh.
when he was sprinting for the line
Uh-huh.
and trying not to lose time. I'm like, there's no way he has a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
I got a personal. I
So
got
you
a
think
personal.
he went total Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Just bam.
Yeah.
Jackson's like, these references are so old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mary
Have you
Poppins.
seen the Lethal Weapon movies, Jackson?
I haven't, no.
Damn it!
Really? You. Yeah. That's
I wish you could come home for spring
But-
break.
You have a marathon, and then some Lethal Weapon after that.
Yeah. Right on. But can you imagine that it was a bad crash?
Oh,
Dislocating your shoulder, getting back on, just hooking up right before, and then he crashes again. And then gets up,
shit.
and he was, if you watch, he was like catching group after group after
yeah.
group.
So he's
And
insane.
he gave every bit of effort, and the first thing he did when he crossed the line, went to Schachmann and fist bump. Say congratulations. That guy's a hero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carson
super
texts me and he
impressive.
says, "Are you thinking about the meme about the soccer player rolling, grabbing?" I said, "We can't talk about that. That was one of the memes that in Packfiller. Don't you remember the cycle players
we
rolling?
shall
the
not
guys,
talk about that one again.
Yeah.
That one's
And I
gone.
just did.
Karsten. Well, it's okay. You were quoting Karsten,
Yeah.
who breaks all the rules.
Yes, he does.
In fact, that motherfucker, Karsten, if you're listening to this,
You're
God
a
damn it,
motherfucker.
quit spoiling shit. He actually texted the group and said, "Now we know what Primoz Roglic's ass looks like." Fucking come on! He is the villain, isn't he? He's the villain.
Well, he started texting me personally because we're watching it. He watches it live. So
You should just block him on those days. Block his calls.
He'd
block
get
him.
angry with me.
You're angry with him right now.
Yeah, my big question here is can you blame Bora Hansgrohe for doing what they did? I remember days when it used to be the leader has crashed. You do not
On the last
attack
day.
on the leader. Well, not necessarily
Yeah,
the last
yeah,
day.
but,
I've
I mean,
seen
the
Tour de
last
France
day
stages where they're like everybody slow down.
Yeah.
Jackson, what were your thoughts watching Bora Hansgrohe in this moment where they were going for it, hammered down?
Yeah, I had a mix of emotions. Immediately I thought that I was a little surprised to see that they went to the front and started just going for it. But on the other hand, I also thought that they looked at their opportunities with Schachmann against Roglic and went, "This is the only chance we have," because like Schachmann is not going to beat Roglic on pretty much anything. So I think they had to take the only opportunity they had. Unfortunately, it did come at the expense of Roglic getting hit a few times, but yeah, I can't blame him. So
I was a little torn. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit like, oh shit. But I didn't think about it. You guys?
Oh, of course I did. The thing is cycling it's no other sport that I can think of.
Formula One wouldn't wait for
Football. Oh, a quarterback. You know what?
fuck.
He's
laying
kind of.
down.
Let's give him a little. Don't hit him so hard.
Everybody 5 Mississippi before you rest the
exactly.
Right.
So I mean, it's the only sport and it's an unwritten rule. And I listened to Bradley Wiggins.
Yeah.
And he says, and Adam Blythe said the same thing. Racing is completely different now. These younger guys are coming in and racing like junior races. Because when you come in the ranks as like, your first year in the pro ranks, you just watch and follow. You don't attack in feed zones. You don't. I mean, if somebody goes down, you had these written rules, and there was an El Patron. There was a cop that made sure everybody followed the rules.
Yeah.
And set the tempo. These guys are just going, and it's making for interesting races.
Fun race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if what I was getting at earlier is, if that was stage 2 or 3, you kind of maybe make it fair, weight it up. This is the last stage. You're either going to win, or you're win a race or not win a race. And the guy goes down twice. It's not like, a dog ran out in front of him and he crashed. I mean, guy crashed, and it's kind of fair. I mean, it's just, it becomes, it's just different.
Fall down once, shame on you.
Fall down
twice, shame on me.
But mind you, too, there's other GC contenders there, but Bora had the strongest. I mean, the most people represented.
Yeah.
And they were attacking Bora because that Schachmann now is in the yellow, so the race went on.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just all of Bora doing their stuff. So
Is Jay, you were about to say something. I just saw you.
Oh, I was gonna. Roglic can't win in France, with the Dauphiné, then the Tour.
Well,
now Paris-Nice. France is his arch nemesis.
My
at this
next
point.
question was actually you. I wish I would have kept going because I was going to say, is this guy cursed? And you're exactly stating on that.
Crazy. I feel bad for him.
My wife and I watched it last night, and she watched the last. Well, she's watched all week with me because she's like, "Fine, Jeopardy's over. We can watch this." I wish that was a joke, but it actually isn't. I'm that old that we watch Jeopardy now. But we were watching it, and especially the prior stage where Gino Mader, who rode for Bahrain Victorious, who was away up until the last second, and Primoz Roglic passed him right at the last second to win the stage. And my wife actually looked at that and went, "Oh, that sucks. I hate him. He's going to get some bad karma." So in other words, my wife is a witch because she just went. I fell asleep and she conjured something and brought down some wrath upon Primoz Roglic because it was just. And then the funny thing is the next day we were watching it and she felt bad for Roglic and I went, do you remember what you said?
Yeah.
Do you remember what
Remember
you
the bat wings and the frog legs?
That brew? You asked me to get the hair of a bat to throw into some sort of a bubbling cauldron on the stove. I thought you were making beer. But no, and you know, it was almost like, wow, that was an interesting discussion because, man, he was totally taking stages like a boss, and then he just got completely punched in the gut for it. So what did Paris-Nice teach us in terms of riders who are going well? What riders did you guys see that you're thinking, future tours, Milan-San Remo, which we all have to pick for this week because it is this Saturday. I mean, this Saturday. Yeah, Jack just looked at me going, oh, shit. I don't even know who's starting. None of us know who's starting, to be honest, because the start list is so bare.
The Trinity are.
Yeah, exactly.
Alaphilippe.
Yeah. Larry Curl and Mo.
Yeah, the ones that have been winning all the stages.
Yeah. So some things I will throw out just for my personal observations while you guys think of things that Paris-Nice taught us. Number one, Richie Porte is truly cursed, more so than Primoz Roglic.
First stage?
First stage. I think he either has an inner ear infection or he...
Richie Porte is no Primoz Roglic. He's just not that.
No, he's a triathlete.
No, he's just cursed.
He's not on the same level either. I mean...
he is.
He's Richie Porte is a triathlete?
Yeah, he started as a triathlete.
That's why he can't control his body.
He likes swimming, yeah.
That's why he can't ride the pace line.
Seriously, yeah.
He's like, hey! You're too close to me! And my second observation is actually, I've got a couple more, but is that Michael Matthews is riding very well right now. I think he's under the radar. And you will hear me mention his name again when we get to Milan-San Remo. Ding, ding. Anybody else have any observations that you took away from... Paul points to the
Jackson.
computer to go with Jackson.
Because we get carried away all the time.
He goes like this.
Yeah.
He just goes to
Please
that.
go
He's
to
pointing
him.
to the back of the laptop. So, yeah.
You need a button.
Yeah.
Well, someday Jackson will be
Please.
here and we can all make eye contact.
That's how we did it. We had a thing going.
Yeah. The good old days.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think the thing that I really took away from Paris-Nice was that Ineos is willing to put quite a few baskets in the Theo Gegenhardt.
Eggs in the basket? Yeah.
Yeah, eggs into the Theo Gegenhardt basket, which I was pretty surprised about. He kind of won the Giro on a bit of a shock, but they're willing to go for it. I think I heard Dan Lloyd say that he needs a little bit more to prove, but I think that it's a very interesting path that they're taking with him.
Yeah, very much so. And that Ineos it's a different team. Well, not to mention the whole testosterone thing that's going on right now. But, that's a whole different story. But this mentality of this more attacking mentality has been really interesting, and how they split the team up over these two races. But I interrupted you guys. Anything you took away from any of this?
I think for the first time that I found Paris-Nice probably one of the boringest races that I've seen in a long time, up until the last stage, obviously. But, Torino has just been
heads and tails better.
Yeah. And to me, most of the time they're kind of a toss-up depending on how things are going. But
I think it's how the teams split their teams to go to each of these races. To me, and I didn't analyze shit this week. So, but it seems like the tour teams are at Torino.
You analyzed what beer tastes in a public park. You can't respond to that because I caught you.
His jaw hit the table.
At least you weren't wrapping it up in a brown bag. And
I don't hide it.
Hey, you know what's under my coat?
I'm not trying to hide it. But no, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but Torino has the field is full of talent from Tour the Giro. It was much more exciting racing in the sense that there'd be like a break of 9 with 5 potential classics winners or tour winners in that same break, beating each other up, and that just seemed like a different race, like the next level race.
Agreed.
Like, So,
What I think the stages allow themselves, like Paris-Nice, what really breaks things up is in the early stages, the crosswinds. They really didn't have a crosswind section. That's where you get the scramble for the GC. That didn't really happen this year. Tirreno Adriatico has short, punchy climbs, and that's kind of a classic type. It's exciting racing because, attackers, you've got
Like a
all kinds of
classic-
people. Yeah, they're just a
classic
series of classic races.
stage
yeah.
race. Yeah.
And you had classic guys there.
Yeah.
And so like Andrew Vanderpool's.
It was rough that last stage. I know, probably jumping too far, but I
No.
mean, the weather change.
Shit.
The race kind of fell apart, and you had guys that were like, okay, this guy's tough, this guy's not, and just like falling off. I'm getting 20th place, so I'm out of here. Bye. I don't care.
I had intended to separate the two, but since we're bleeding them into each other, I'm fine with that. In terms of the selection process for the two races, Paris-Nice has always been a gigantic race. Tirreno Adriatico, yeah, but this year it's just like, holy shit!
Yeah, it
it's
was
like
noticeable.
I'm almost surprised, what the decision process was, especially with teams like Jumbo-Visma, where Roglic was sent to one and not the other, and some riders sent to one and not the other. But having Tirreno Adriatico obviously weighing the scale, tipping the scale in terms of what the intensity was, and the riders who were there.
Well, I think
Wow.
Jumbo-Visma had their, you can see that division. They had their classic team down because of the punchy climbs.
Yeah.
And then Primo being down, because you're going to do alpine climbs and stuff. Well, not alpine. It's, off of Nice there with some really steep climbs. But I have one more takeaway. I mean, on
Paris-Nice?
Paris-Nice. I guess disc brakes don't really help you on the descent.
They hope
just
they
going to
crash.
say,
They hope they
yeah.
hit the
Yeah.
Where's my bell? I don't have the bell. There's the
Maybe he's just not used to the stopping power.
Yeah, he just stopped too abruptly.
Lock them up.
Did I get him to flip me off yet?
No, Jackson.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
It's not worth it. I know my argument will win in the end.
It's only a matter of time until you and your traditions die,
Yeah.
old man.
Just like you.
Okay, I'm just going straight into Tirreno. Well, actually, I did want to say talk about Sam Bennett and the rides he was doing in Paris-Nice in the mountain stages. Looks like a guy who really wants to crush his own will to live in order to potentially win Milan-San Remo. Mm-hmm. I mean, watching him ride in those mountain stages, that wasn't the behavior of a sprinter. The sprinter's jersey was almost like a bonus. It seemed like he was there thinking, I'm here
To train
for next weekend. So I just saw that, and I thought that was a really... And I also want to say about the fact that being only to have 7 riders in a major race is heavily fucking you up, because they lost... what's his name? Sandpaper on the saddle. Tony Martin. They lost Tony Martin, and then you watched Jumbo-Visma just
Sandpaper
come
on the
apart.
saddle.
Yeah, you watched Jumbo-Visma come apart in that last stage. There was nobody left. George Bennett was there for a bit, and that was it. I mean, you lose a couple riders, you could be the strongest team in the world, but you're fucked.
You start to see people like Tony Martin and for De Kooning, Tim de Klerk. Those guys are hugely important, but most people don't even know their name in the U.S. They have no clue who they are, and they're in front of the race, for 100 kilometers, setting the pace or shutting down brakes, and that is a special task. And
Yeah, that
you can see it
was
kind of
made a lot, where there was like guys that shouldn't be at the front at the climb,
Yeah.
popping climbers off the back, doing their job.
Yeah.
Like they're just super strong right now. That I don't know if they're trying to prove something for selection to Giro or something
Probably.
like that. But yeah.
So just random questions I'll throw out there for Tirreno Adriatico. Does one really attack just because they're cold?
Yep.
Keeps you warm.
I do.
Apparently.
Seriously.
Yeah. Hands?
You did.
Yeah, I
Right,
will
was
always. If I get cold, I gotta go.
What do you guys think about that ride by Matthew Vanderpool? On the day it was freezing, and he just launched because he said it was cold. And then you watch a guy of his power, his strength, just disintegrate. Jackson, do you got anything?
I think it was lucky that he stayed away because there was a very slim margin there.
Yeah.
And I think it was a hard stage to go away on, and it kind of broke up a lot of things, and it made the race a little bit more exciting. But I also think that give him like 200, maybe 300 more meters, I don't know if we're getting the same result that we did.
Yeah. No, and Pogacar was just
uphill
flying.
too. If it would have been
Yeah.
200 or 300 meters uphill,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
No, he was going twice as fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Tadej Pogacar? He's the name I always Pogacar. I always fuck his name up, and I will in 5 minutes.
We all will.
Is he the, in our minds collectively, the best potential tour rider of all time?
At this point,
Yeah, Jay.
I was thinking this a couple minutes ago. I think we're seeing the next Chris Froome type of rider.
5
I think
tours.
He's so young.
He's gonna blow it up. Yeah.
I mean, he's got potentially 12 years.
This time last year, I'm not going to lie, I was an ignorant little schoolboy, and my son was teaching me lessons because he was like going, watch this guy. I'm like, whatever, I can't even pronounce his name. And then he does well. And I think he's doing well just because I can't pronounce his name.
well, I think he's. I kind of disagree with Jackson because I
Uh-oh.
think he's beyond Froome because Froome didn't do what he's doing. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
This young.
when he did Paris-Nice, you know, he wrote it and put in a little bit of effort, but everything was on the tour.
And Froome didn't do what we thought he would when he started winning tours. We thought he'd win 7 or 8 or 20. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
and then he just kind of like fell off. I know. He had
really did fall
injury,
off.
but
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know. It just seems like he became disappointing pretty quick.
I would say with Pogacar, he's an all-around guy. I mean, he races to win, and that's another thing that Bradley Wiggins mentioned. He says these young guys, they're going out to win. That's what their contract's all about. And UAE just signed Pogacar for another up to 2026.
Yeah.
So
Not a bad investment.
yeah, you want to tie him up before Ineos gets a hold of him.
Yeah,
So,
shit. Thank you.
Yeah.
God.
And then track after that.
yeah, exactly.
No, that's where
But
they
we
go to
get
rest.
them when they're
That's what I'm saying,
38.
after that. I said
Yeah.
that after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But Roglic is kind of the same way. I mean, he races to win. Like
Yeah.
he could have in a couple of those that stage, the 2 stages ago,
Yeah.
he could have just let that guy win. I mean, you know, it wasn't going to change the result, and he
Well, it did.
chewed him up.
Look what it did.
Well,
Yeah, because your wife put a curse on him.
yeah, true. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That is
She
everything.
put a curse on it.
Wow, if he would have let him win, he would have won overall.
My next question is, Jackson, are you going to be okay? Peter Sagan apparently was in Tirreno Adriatico.
See,
It was
okay.
still, I guess he's still, is he
Yeah, he's
still,
still in there.
Wait, let me check my files. Is he still in? Oh, yeah, he's still in the race. Well, he's starting.
What?
He's starting the race. This is,
Yeah, I wasn't expecting. I mainly said his name is the sprinter because he's my favorite rider, but I think I was not expecting him to win it
No.
or any stage. But I think he's going to hopefully come into form in tour time. Maybe classics.
oh, man, I hope. I really do hope so. I would love to be him to be mixing it up with those other 3.
Yeah, I think last year was just. It's tough to judge anybody's form off last year,
Yeah.
and especially coming off of COVID, it's so hard to judge form off of that as well. So I think I'm interested to see what is to come for him, because he was in like the top on the first stage. So
Yeah. All right, here we are 43 minutes into the podcast already, and we haven't picked a single name for a very, very, I guess it's a big race coming up this weekend, Milan San Remo. Very long, very demoralizing, and then it just hauls ass in the last half. Well, last third, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. And our start lists are very vague at this point in time. So how do we go about this? Do we still pick our 3 riders and hope 1 or 2 of them are actually in the event? I've got some ideas. I've got some riders I'd like to pick. I don't know if you guys do. We're all grabbing our paper and pen, and
Do you have a magazine I can put under my paper so I don't scratch your...
yeah.
Don't press hard.
Use that, asshole.
Is this the sticker paper?
Yeah, it is.
That is.
Oh, nice.
Do you guys realize
That you put up a lot of shit.
know that the 4 of us have just 2 letters combined for the start of all of our names? Jack, Jackson, Pat, Paul. I don't know. It's just popped into my head.
Huh.
Technically, we could be James, and Jack, because Jackson and I are both Jameses,
Yeah.
and Paul would be the out.
What's your
I'll
middle, what's
stick
your
with
middle
Paul.
name?
Mitchell.
Damn it,
Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch. Mitch no. So anyway,
Yeah, I've heard
I'm gonna go first. I'm definitely going with Matthew Vanderpool because he's fucking flying. If he's still not frozen to his top tube, he's gonna do really well. I'm gonna go with Michael Matthews because I think the guy's coming at it.
That's a good choice.
And you know who else I'm gonna pick? I and this is just an emotional pick. I'm not gonna pick Wout van Aert, and I'm not gonna pick Julian Alaphilippe. I'm gonna
Greg.
I'm gonna pick Greg.
He's my third. See, and you didn't even have to help me with that.
Yeah, Greg Van Avermaet.
Yeah, I got him.
Those are my 3.
He was my third.
Jack. Okay,
I may as well go.
You got GVA.
Yeah, so I have him for... Well, we're not picking
No,
win.
just
the
3
win.
riders.
Okay,
3 riders.
I had Alaphilippe and Vanderpool and Greg.
Okay, and VDP.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm down with the VDP.
VDP. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And I'll never pick Matthew Vanderpool because that's a given. It just burns an extra.
I
So I
know.
go for the long
But
one.
you'll never get points.
I know.
We should
But
always
I'll
do
roll the dice.
The whole point.
But
of it.
then I also went
Tier
because
the riders.
I heard some trainers said he's going to pay for his efforts in Torino
Yeah.
this Saturday
He
because
might.
he was empty, totally empty.
Yeah.
But this is a unique human.
But to quote
Yeah.
the one and only Kelly Clarkson, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Don't get that
And
song in
he's
my head.
definitely...
Hey, fuck you! I was stuck in goddamn what's her name, Edie Brickell, all Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Did you sing that the whole song?
The whole ride. I got home and named my Strava ride. I'm not aware of too many things.
I know what I know, if you know what I mean.
Do you? Paul, who are your riders?
I like Sam Bennett.
Oh,
I think this typically has been a sprinter's classic.
yeah.
And he is attacking the hills a little bit better. And I also put Caleb in there. And then
Ooh.
Caleb Ewing.
Okay.
He came second like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to go with the Belgium here since I didn't pick the other 2 hard.
Whoa.
Yeah, well.
Okay.
And
Back to
Wout
back.
looked pretty, like I can't keep up, but he's looking really strong.
He hasn't
God.
placed lower than 8th in every stage of
Man,
Torino.
he couldn't
And wait
hang.
until tomorrow's TT. We'll see.
Yeah.
Jackson Bulger.
So I am gonna go with. I have to go with Matthew Vanderpool
Yeah.
because he's an
Because you're
insane
not
man.
an idiot. Yeah.
'Cause
Exactly.
Right now, because right
Although
now,
I picked him, I'm going to curse him.
And then my next is going to be Julian Alaphilippe,
Okay.
and then I don't know what it is, but I have a very, very weird feeling about this one. I think Sagan rode Torino soft for a reason.
You always believe in your heroes,
you're just
Jackson.
like Richie Port and your dad.
You know what? Can I change?
Oh, you're
Can
gonna
I
pick
take away
Richie
Matthew
Port.
Vanderpool?
Yeah.
Just so I don't curse him? And I'm going to pick the trouble boy himself, Quinn Simmons.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mascon, Johnny
No.
Mascon.
No, I'm gonna pick Quinn Simmons. Don't at me. Don't yell at me. Okay, I don't like the fucking things he tweets, but the guy's riding well, and so
Yeah, he is.
I'm gonna pick him for.
And he's
him in there.
their number one rider right now.
I'm gonna throw him in
He's
there.
got the one on his.
All right.
jersey.
Speaking of which, gentlemen, moving on to topics within the show, I am offering up a challenge to all the members of the Packfiller, and that just doesn't necessarily mean the people who are immediately within the sound of my voice, but the people who are listening to this show. COVID is still an issue. Let's not deny that, but I want to start putting our proverbial money where our mouth is. We each need to commit here, and I think we can encourage riders to go out there and challenge themselves without doing it ourselves. So, with that being said, I'm officially, I hope you guys will accept the challenge. I am asking you guys to complete a homework assignment. By training camp, the training camp Jackson can't go to.
He can go to it.
He can. He just won't. By training camp, I challenge each of you, including the diva, to pick 3 challenges. 3 challenges. They could be goals, events, or anything like that. Okay, and I want you to find the times of each of those challenges. You got to pick one. Let's say, okay, I want to ride across the country, and I'm going to do it in July, or I want to do a specific race, and those dates for that event are these dates, or I want to, beat this Strava segment, and I want to do it by June 1st, or whatever it is. Okay, if it is a race, you must register for it. Or if you haven't, you have to tell us why you haven't, because maybe the registration hasn't opened yet. But if you're challenging yourself to ride to the coffee shop, tell me the date you're planning on riding to the coffee shop. 3 events. Spread them out over the course of this season. Make them bigger than you think you're capable of. For example, if Jackson wants to ride the Midnight Century, great, but you have to strive for the top 10 or something like that within the Midnight Century. Okay. First of all, I offer that challenge up to everybody in the listening audience out there, and I especially offer it up to our Club Packfiller members. I think it'd be great to have some events that we tie in together, and I'd love your ideas, which means I think we all need to start opening up our calendars and looking at the Washington, Idaho, national calendar and things like that, and looking around, because I want each goal to be documented, which means we're going to put the list on the website. We're going to tell people where we're going to be and when we're going to be there, and what our goals are for that event. Second, I think we need to do regular check-ins on the show. You guys are already writing down your events.
I got 2 of them.
All right.
I would have 3, and that would have been Rocky Mountain Roubaix, but I'm not going to do that.
You're not.
No, it's Mother's Day, and my wife has the the weekend on.
Bring her to the race.
That'll work. That'll work. That's like a fart in church.
Yeah, especially out there.
So
It's desolate.
So the second thing is we have to provide check-ins to the show on how the preparation's going, when it's happening, what you're thinking. And finally, you have to either provide video or audio documentary work on the event itself, which means before, during, after. It could be a photograph. By the way, this is an audio podcast. You can do audio updates. It's fine. I'm fine with that. So my first question is, do I have agreement from you guys that this might be an interesting challenge to take up?
Yep.
Sure.
Paul?
Sure. When do we have to have this figured out?
By training camp.
Okay. This will be fun. We'll drink over whiskey shots. We'll be.
That's the second weekend in April. We have to tell the listening audience what our events are doing and when we're going to do them. Jackson, does it sound worthwhile to you?
Sounds good to me.
You will be an official college graduate and potentially unemployed, and all the time in the world to train, right?
Exactly. It's easy as that.
So, okay, and this was my idea, so I got to do it. I got to come up with 3. And like I said, they don't necessarily have to be a race. You don't have to sign up for a race. If you say, I want to ride 200 miles in one day, so on you. That's your challenge. And I'm going to do it July 4th, so be it. Okay? That's our challenge. Listeners, you guys, if you have any things you want to do, let us know. We're going to start sharing this. I think it'd be fun for everybody to start putting themselves out on the chopping block and say, you know what, I'm doing this. It's the you have a couple drinks and you sign up for races, you register for
We
races.
do that a lot.
Yeah, those are fun.
It's running.
Where you're like, yeah,
whatever.
no,
But yeah.
I signed up for Leadville drunk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for the
best
lottery.
time.
Yeah.
That's when you got all that courage.
Yeah. And then I went, oh my God, I got in.
Yeah.
I have 4 months to get my shit together. Yeah. So, okay. So there we go. And by the way, if you guys out there have any suggestions on events, let us know ASAP. You can send them to our social media or directly email them to me at patrick@packfiller.com. All right. Now our topic brought to you by our friends at Giant Bicycles. Ride life, ride giant. This is not exactly the time to attempt to buy a new bike. But your local Giant dealer likely has some great bikes to choose from. If not, have you thought about upgrading your current setup like we talked about last week with Jack? Try out their shoe offerings, you guys. I am currently on the Surge Pros, which are stiff, well-fitting, and strong like bull. I like the shoes. I'm really liking the shoes. I've never had a pair of BOA fastened shoes before, and I really like them. I don't know, you guys BOA?
The BOA is the wires.
Dial, yeah,
Yeah, I
dial
got
and the
that.
wires.
I got that. I'm a specialist. I'm a Scott shoe.
Yeah.
Scott.
Jackson's got them. Yeah. Paul,
And I like
you're-
Mine are bow, and I don't like them.
you don't like the BOA, really?
I like it loose in the box, but that's, in the toe box.
But that's a Velcro.
I'm such a child.
So I have.
Jackson's rolling his eyes. He's going, "Fuck, Dad."
So I have a Velcro box.
Uh-huh.
I have a Velcro box, and I can loosen my Velcro box
Yeah.
to wiggle my toes.
Yeah.
And then I can.
These particular ones, they're CDs. I've always had CDs and enjoyed, like the Genius.
Yeah,
but,
I love CDs.
yeah. But this is the only CD I've been very disappointed in.
GiantBicycles.com is the name of the sponsor for this one. Gentlemen, I want to talk about why we ride. Why? Okay? After my recent episode with the gang from Mojo, which is going to be released this week, I started to think a lot about the difference between a rider and a racer. And I hate using those words because I usually just use the generic term cyclist. And here we're at these days where everybody's like, fuck you if they're on a bike, respect them, love them, don't make fun of them. Their bibs are on backwards and their helmet's on, gaper gap. Come on, man. I can't make fun of that. But anyway, I want to talk about the difference between the Mojo guys were talking to me about riding, not necessarily worrying about how fast you're going, how much you're hurting other people. And then I go out and ride with some roadies who are focused on speed, focused on fitness, focused on Strava goals and things like that. And the difference between a rider and a racer, and I would like to think that the four of us here all consider ourselves racing cyclists, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Jack, was that vague? You
I'll be very blunt about it. If I'm not thinking about racing, I'm not riding. I won't ride.
Okay.
Like I don't pleasure ride.
Mm-hmm.
That's, that was my next question.
Yeah, I just
Really?
I'm just not. I'm not interested in touring. I'm not interested in centuries. I'm not. If I get goal oriented, and it's like, okay, and right now it's like a race, but and even if I wrote down three races, it's like not a specific race. But right now, the only reason I show up on Saturday is because I think I'm going to race.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not out there to just go for, hey guys, let's go for a ride.
Really?
No.
I'm exactly the same.
No, but on the flip side, when I'm riding and I see a guy on an e-bike, a guy on any bike, I am like super stoked for them. Like I'm waving. Yeah. I love everybody out on a bike. I'm not that guy, but I really appreciate anybody getting out on a bike. Even if it's their only mode of transportation, I don't care. But me, I gotta be racing.
Okay,
I'm exactly the same.
That's interesting. Jackson, what's your take on some of this stuff? I'm at the tip of the iceberg here,
and I have fun. Sorry to.
No, that's fine. Yeah, whatever.
I find like a lot of joy and some of like the most joy out of just being on the bike. Like I haven't raced in a very long time at this point. It's been obviously over a year, but since I think 2 summers ago at this point, it's coming up on like that much time. So I'm just getting to a point in my life where it's like, I just really like to ride my bike, and if there isn't racing, because I don't know what's going to happen right now, because everything's so unpredictable, but
Yeah.
I just find some great pleasure in being out there, and whether it's getting fit or exploring a new area, I enjoy it no matter what. That's why I think I don't just go straight to road or straight to mountain biking or straight to gravel. I like to do it all because I like just being on the bike in general.
See, okay. Does a racer have to pin a number on? Can you be a racing cyclist and never pay entry fee, stand on a start line with other people with a number
I'll
on?
lose interest. I will fucking.
I would say
Really?
I will. Like, if I trained a whole season and COVID hit and I wasn't getting a race on, then I would likely take a break till I see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Wow.
Like, and I don't know. I mean, maybe it's like, well, give me 3 months. I'll get fit enough, and then I'll go get my ass kicked for a while, and then I'll race. I don't know. It's been a long time, but I want there to be something at the, a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want there to be a purpose, and the purpose for me isn't necessarily like, trying to keep the other foot out of the grave.
And it isn't winning the sprint for the city limit sign.
No, I
on
have
a
no
road race.
I don't have a ton of pride that's like on the, sprinting for a.
But
I mean, I
still,
will, but
you say you don't have a.
Well, my
ton of
first
pride.
instinct was to jump,
Yeah,
and then reality kicked in, and I'm not ready, and I know my limits, and then, but no, I will be. I'm very competitive. There's no, there's every bone in my body is competitive.
Yeah.
but I also have some patience. So
I think that's what we were discovering here, is that the competitive is a large element with a good portion of
it's
this
with
panel.
everything, though. It's like yoga, when Paul talks about competitive, or everybody. We're very competitive people.
Very much so. I have to say, do you have to, going back to the question for me, do you have to pin a number on consider racing? I had to. I love cycling, and like Jack, I've got big into it. Had to dropped out of it for whatever reason in our lives
Life.
Life came in.
Yeah.
Started back up, but there was a group of guys. And I was terribly out of shape, and somebody invited me to do this breakfast ride. They call it, not the breakfast ride, the morning ride. And it's just they meet at 5:45, and it's this 20-mile loop on the south side of Spokane. And it just got faster and faster, and it became more and more fun. And the people that I know could beat me up the final climb. I have now a target. It was all, and that launched me back into racing. Then it's like, that was good, but it was. I mean, I was looking forward to it. The weekend, this group of guys on the weekend was more social, and I got bored with that because there was no edge. So,
Jackson, you and I have had several conversations about this sometimes, where sometimes we just want to go out and pedal.
Yeah, exactly. I think sometimes
This is interesting.
I think the whole phrase of "it's taken so seriously" has been kind of beaten to death a little bit, but I do genuinely sometimes think that in some cases a lot of the times we are just so serious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes I like to just go out and not be so serious and just kind of treat a ride as a ride. Sometimes I don't want to race, but sometimes I do, I think what Jack said, when I go on a group ride, a lot of the times, and I think everybody thinks this, we're going to be competitive at one point of the ride.
Yeah.
But there are some days, like you said, where we don't necessarily need to be. So
It's funny. I find myself saying that, I'm sitting here trying to think of my own response when I'm writing these questions to you guys, and I've spent a good portion of my life training by myself. Just I don't know why, but I've always been kind of a solo trainer. But and nowadays I'm thinking, God, it's really nice to just go out and kind of pedal or climb and do these kinds of things. And I'm trying to think all holier than thou, but then I get home immediately and I'm checking Strava and I'm seeing if I beat one of my old times. Sunday my legs felt like garbage because a Saturday was a pretty good ride. I still got to certain climbs and was like, okay, I got to try for this one. I got to see if I can do it. See, what would it be like to go home and look at my Strava and say, holy shit, I PR'd on a climb after doing 4 hours the day before? So I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that I'm holier than thou, because I'm not. I'm full of shit. Because, yeah, I'm just as competitive as you guys are. I don't like getting dropped. And so one of my big goals this year is to hang on to your ass, Paul, is to hold on to you. And I don't know if I need to pin a number on to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I will
Paul
race.
is your race. You're my motor pacing right now.
Jack, you're joking, but yeah.
No, I know. I get it.
In some cases, my goal is to be competitive with the guys,
Right,
be competitive with the friends, and race those things.
It's when you're in it at all levels. If there's a level above you,
Yeah.
You always aim for it.
You wanna get to it.
Yeah. Well, some people don't. Some people have no idea what that is,
Yeah.
and no idea
True.
like why they would run with a group that's faster than them or ride with a group that's gonna hurt them.
Yeah.
You know, I show up to the ride
Sure.
and it's like, okay, this can be a painful couple hours. And but next week it'll be better and all that. But people don't like, some people, I know a lot of runners that go out and they run at a certain pace for 5 hours and they're talking the whole time and they never, that heart rate never gets, uncomfortable. The legs are tired because of, whatever. But anyway, my point is if you don't go out and test yourself or pick people that are better than you at the time, then you're not going to get better,
But they will sign up for a 5K, and they will sign up for a 10K, and things like that. So that, in essence, is still pushing the boundaries. It's
That's
just
probably
not
a
speed.
distance thing more
Yeah.
than it is like, you hear people like, I'm going to sign up for my first 5K. Well,
Sure.
that's awesome. And people are their first century or their first
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And that's a body personal test. It's not necessarily, that's your individual choice to not hurt yourself. Like,
Yeah. Is competition vanity? Is it a form of vanity?
It can be. I don't think it always is.
Yeah. Do you guys? Is there a sense of personal pride that's at stake here, Jackson?
I mean, isn't it in all competition?
Sure.
I think when you go up to every single,
I'm not saying vanity's a sin here. Yeah.
I'm just thinking like whenever you go into any competition, I mean, you don't want to lose,
Yeah.
and in a lot of cases with the four of us, we're pretty competitive people. So I think if you don't win, sometimes it's hard to swallow because of that personal pride, but sometimes we also have to go, not there yet, but it'll be okay. It's the cliche where it's like, yes, you've fallen off the horse, but it what matters is if you get back up.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it's the few races that I've ever won wasn't for vanity or to be admired or whatever, but that was my goal, is to win a race.
Feels pretty fucking good though.
It is, because the way I race is try to put a strategy in my head and how to achieve it and read the race. That's what I like to do, and I accomplish my goal. Standing on the podium, getting a big check for the Boise Twilight. What
a douchebag would do
Who
that.
would do that?
Yeah.
And it's vanity.
We can honestly pride Jack. Jack here has won the Boise Twilight Crit, and that's a big fucking accomplishment.
It is.
So,
And that's something to be proud of, but I don't know if vanity fits into it. And some, and for me, I love this sport because I like riding on a team. When I raced unattached, or when I have a team that's kind of going different directions and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not as fun for me. I like having a band of brothers going out and
it's war.
challenging.
It's war.
It is.
You're going to war, but
And that's part of my competitive thing. And so even if, and a lot of times I was more the workhorse than the winner on teams, shutting down. They called me the welder because I had weld brakes in both the gap.
Nice.
So, I mean, so those are the things I get joy at. I didn't win. My teammate won or something.
Yeah.
But I had a part in it. And
Yeah.
that's what I like about bike racing.
And depending upon like who you are, you could pick a cyclist that won everything, and you could pick a cyclist that won few things. The journey through this is like, I know for my own personal career, like if I picked a time in my life where I like called it my career, it would be a lot more losing than winning, a lot more failure than. But I'll tell you those, and I think before some particular race, a certain guy said to me in a group with other juniors, you know, you're not going to remember the pain you're going to go through today, but if you have a successful race, you'll always remember that. But tomorrow, the next day, the pain will fade, and the memory of the success will stay forever with you, and it does. I mean, so the very few successes I've had in my life are the ones that I remember, but I have been through a shit ton of pain. In a lot of different ways. So
anybody in this group ever just gone out for a ride to explore and got home and never checked Strava, never checked anything like that?
me,
Jack has.
because I'm not on Strava.
Okay.
Every ride is
Jackson,
like that.
have you ever just gone out for an exploration ride, not cared what happened, got home, maybe checked your mileage, but not Strava or how you did?
I have at one point. I don't necessarily do it anymore ever since I got some sort of heart rate monitor.
Yeah. Okay.
Never.
No.
But, that's not bashing anybody that does.
Never not.
No.
I've never just gone for a ride to look and explore.
I'm genuinely saying that there are all kinds of bike riders out
there
there.
is.
I'm just finding some interesting shit out about us as a group that, because I was talking to the Mojo guys and they were saying they leave the house, they don't know where they're going.
Yeah, but it may be
and that's the beauty. That is the beauty of gravel. You are on a bike. It's not going to be the fastest bike, but you are on a bike that will go
anywhere. And you got to explore to find it.
And they just want to explore, and they get home because they know they got to be home at 4 p.m. or something like that, and that's it. They're not checking Strava. They're not checking any of that stuff. And I was thinking, holy fuck, this is a complete photo negative. I'm talking, Bizarro versus Superman here in terms of the people I
It's
associate
like mountain
with.
bikes on a road bike. I mean,
Sure.
in a sense,
Yeah.
the mountain bike guys aren't. I mean,
I disagree.
maybe they
Mountain
are.
bikers
Okay.
are now at the point where they're competitive motherfuckers,
Wow.
and they're also striving their downhill sections. A lot of
Wow.
these guys are.
Okay.
So I just think
didn't know that.
it's interesting. So yeah. Speaking of vanity, does it matter how you look, guys? Is appearance a controlling factor in how you ride?
Not controlling, but it does obviously have some.
You ever checked yourself out in those glowy windows when you're
Oh,
driving?
it's a
by?
vanity
how
check.
flat
Yeah,
your
of
back
course.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go as far as, I would never put orange tape on my handlebars, but,
Oh God. He
So there is some vanity.
he still hasn't.
I know.
I haven't yet, but I'm gonna.
Can I have your black stuff?
I'm going Bahrain victorious, Bulger victorious on my bike, motherfuckers. Jackson, is it a controlling? I mean, you bought those Velotos and they're pretty badass looking. So is there a controlling vanity in it? Because you're a fashion dude, man. I don't mean that as an insult. I don't mean that to bust your chops. You've always, it's been something you've been a big part of you.
I think for me personally, I like a specific look, and with that, I'm gonna go for that specific look. And I'm the type of person where it's like, anyone in the world can tell me it doesn't look very good, and I will not care.
Like those pockets on the sides of your shorts.
Fucking hate those, but you want those.
I sent him several pictures. I keep coming across them on Amazon or something. It's like, hey, Jackson.
But like for instance, something like that. If I would get it because I don't care what other people really want, would say. So I think for me personally, it matters, but I don't judge.
I've caught myself with my glasses inside my helmet straps and gone, fuck, and I'll fix them. I know nobody gives a fuck or even is paying attention.
Oh, I
but
laugh
for
at you.
me, it's, oh, you do good,
Yeah.
good. So I just know I find it interesting the fact that yes, that we talk about all cyclists and all cyclists are we share this thing in common, but holy shit, we're different. Especially when it comes to how many of us are out there on a competitive nature, because I'm talking to you guys, and Jack especially. You're here, you're jumping back into the 4A, and it's not just because of the love of the bike, but it is the love of the bike plus a desire to be competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I don't know. I can't stay away from it very long without going, oh God, I really want to be a bike racer again.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm running low on time. We haven't got to watch this with Paul, but before we get to watch this with Professor Paul, we got to have a little fun. So do I still have it? I hope I do. Old man coach for the intro. I'm looking at all my sound effects. God damn it. I used to have it in the background. I used to have the bar background, but I don't have it anymore. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Packfiller Bar and Grill. I will have is the name of the game, which means I am going to name ingredients in a cocktail that is named after somebody famous in the cycling world. This is the updated edition, in case you might have repeated a person from the last time. This is the updated edition, and you guys are all competing against each other, speaking of competition. And so I will say the ingredients of the beverage, and you must guess who the beverage is named after. You will chime in first by saying your name. And yes, Jackson's on a delay, so do we give him
He's not on a delay.
Yeah.
Jackson, you got fucked on your delay.
Gave him a little.
So, welcome to the Packfiller Bar. I'm Pat. I'll be your server for the day. Our first cocktail special is a glass filled with hamburger, lycra, and the tears of grown men.
Paul. That would be Primo's Roglic.
You would like a Primo's Roglic. Okay, Paul wins that one.
The hamburger.
Get the hamburger. That's pretty good, right?
Trigger.
Yeah.
Pretty good, right? Our second cocktail special is a non-alcohol cocktail. All the flavor, but none of the results. All of the flavor, but
Jackson?
none of the results. Jackson?
Quinn Simmons?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not one of the cocktails we
Your
have
name.
here at the place.
Oh, Jack.
Jack?
Thibaut Pinot?
No. Although that would be a wonderful name for this cocktail.
I have no clue.
That was the Peter Sagan, everybody.
We're
not offering Peter
come
Sagan.
on.
Sorry, Jackson. Sorry, Jackson.
Jesus. Thibaut Pinot was better.
All right. Then our third cocktail is a bottle of Foster's that the waitstaff brings to the table and smashes on the floor.
Jackson.
Jackson?
Richie Port.
That is Richie Port.
Damn it.
Get the Foster's right?
Yeah,
Liz?
Foster's.
All right. Australian for beer. A drink that you next is a drink that you won't order simply because you can't pronounce it drunk.
Oh, Jack.
Jack?
Todde.
Gotcha.
That's Todde. All right, we are even. Everybody has one. Our fifth out of 8 cocktail specials is a martini because it was cool about 5 years ago.
Jack. Vincenzo Nibali.
No, I'm sorry, that's not the name of this particular cocktail.
Paul.
This is a gin-based martini.
Yes, Paul. That would be Chris Froome.
That is a Chris Froome.
Gin was the secret there.
I should have said that earlier. Sorry about that. Our sixth cocktail, and I doubt you're going to get the actual name, but I'll give it to you if you get the name, is a bottle of Heineken, a bottle of Duvel, and a glass of champagne, all poured into the same glass. Paul?
Would that be MVP Matthew Van Der Poel?
I'm sorry, I don't have the complete name of the cocktail. You can't order it unless you know the name of it.
Matthew Van Der Poel is not the answer. Huh.
I'm sorry, the name of that cocktail is called the Alavanderart, which is the Alaphilippe, hence the champagne. See, the Heineken, which is
that's
Dutch,
really
and the Duvel, which is Belgian.
I came up
See?
because he was born in Belgium.
Yeah,
MVP was born in Belgium and raised in Belgium.
he's
and he's
grandfather's
Dutch,
French.
and he wins a lot.
And his
hence the
grandfather's
champagne. And his
grandfather's
French,
French.
too.
Jeez,
But the Alavanderart,
Yeah.
somebody's got to create that cocktail because
Yeah.
I came up with that, and I want $1 every time
Yum.
somebody sells it. We have 2 left, gentlemen. Cocktail number 7 is a delicious beer. The beer you've been dreaming about your entire life. It makes its way to the table, but it cuts off intermittently. And all that's left when it finally gets to you is the last sip. beer you've been dreaming about your entire life. It's affordable. It's there for you. It makes its way to the table, but it's blinking in and out when it's coming to you. And all that's left when it finally gets to you is the last sip. I'll give a hint. This is not an individual.
Oh.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. That's the GCN. Our last cocktail.
There was too much thinking on that
there
one.
was too much thinking. I
There's
had
way
fun
too
with
much
it.
thinking
Yeah.
here.
Paul has 2, Jackson and Jack have 1, so the best we can do is tie, gentlemen. So,
You don't have a tiebreaker?
no, this isn't a tiebreaker, but this could be under 2 names, and one of them is not somebody mentioned in this show, okay? Our final cocktail special is a vial of testosterone.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Ineos?
I had the Sky, but I'll take the
Yeah.
Ineos for that one.
That makes sense.
I would have accepted a Dr. Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's all going on right now. So,
Yes, it is. Yes,
As it ends up, Jack, you have to buy the round.
Okay.
You got to buy
All right. I got you.
Tades, a
Tades.
round of Tades, a hot Tades for everybody, which is a drink you're not going to order because you can't pronounce it drunk.
Yep.
That was a joke about me. So we last left off in Watch This with Professor Paul Main. I do believe I had a theme. This is Paul's theme.
I don't think I
So
ever
much
had
better
it.
than the intro theme.
Yeah.
We're going to war, going to war.
I
I've never had a theme in my life.
This is
Yeah.
Watch This with Professor
Yeah.
Paul. Yeah,
I'll be there.
exactly. So I have had that theme on the computer for weeks,
Uh-huh.
and I keep
Just
forgetting
waiting.
to push it.
Oh.
I keep forgetting to push it. So this week's selection, American Crit 1.
First
One.
10 minutes.
First 10 minutes of American Crit 1. And I don't know how many of you guys have seen the American Crit series on YouTube. Butcher Box, Team Butcher Box. What did Carson call him?
Meat box.
No, he called it
Team Meat.
Yeah, team meat.
Yeah.
Meat?
I watched 2 in full
Which
length
is
last night.
That's the best.
But I have watched 1. I just
Uh-huh.
didn't follow your rules or instructions. By the
2
way.
is good, and 1 is good if you watch them in order.
yeah.
It's like the Avengers movies, The first one's good, the second one's better.
Personally, I think that if you're only going to watch one, it's the second one.
Yeah.
That's the best. Kind of lays out the whole Crit series in the U.S. But
Jackson, you watched it?
Yeah, I watched the entire first one and then half of the second one.
Oh, okay. Any initial thoughts on it? First of all, I'm going to I'm going to throw it out there. I had somebody rate the show a while ago and say that they liked the fact that it's a fairly knowledgeable podcast. But I'm going to throw this out there, and I'm going to say I didn't realize the U.S. crit scene was still as strong as it is, because I'm landlocked up here in the Northwest, and I haven't been to the Boise Crit. I haven't seen Tulsa Tough. I haven't been to some of these great and obviously incredible events that are really flourishing.
Mm-hmm.
At least it seemed like it. And these movies lit me up. I loved them. I was like, holy shit! It reminded me of the old school Wheat Thins Mayor's Cup, and if you remember those races, you're officially old. It reminded me of what I refer to as the glory days of cycling in the United States. And I keep thinking that cycling is suffering, but there's a lot going on in this crit series.
Well, it's the only thing that's survived.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to have multiple stage races and crit season, and crit season was real, big and real. This is all we got.
Can we be honest? This is the form
Big-
of cycling
big.
that can save this country.
yeah,
It really could, yeah.
Yeah.
Not save the country, but can save cycling
save
in
the
this country.
or maybe the country.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, offer
Yeah.
off free vaccinations.
Yeah.
So anybody else, because I could go off on it forever. About,
if
about
it's
the
handled
films.
right, like everything you saw in, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna go to American Crit 2, but like the party scene at all these events,
Absolutely.
Especially Tulsa Tough and
Tulsa Tough,
Yeah.
Crybaby Hill,
Yeah.
Athens Twilight, Boise Twilight, any of these, Ballard downtown, the Ballard Crit.
Yeah.
It's surrounded by a couple cool bars and people that aren't cyclists like come in and are fans for a day, and
Because
it's traditionally
it's-
over and over and over
and it's
too.
easy to understand. And
Yep.
I've announced some downtown crits before, and the Spokane one I enjoyed thoroughly because you can get an audience up to speed.
People
really
will, and
quickly.
people will stop, like
Yeah.
they're at the carousel and they're like, hey, there's a bike race going on, and,
Yeah.
and they'll be there, and they'll be there entirety, like, oh, I like this is good,
Yeah.
you know.
Wait,
So-
there's another one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Wait,
But if
the
you-
next one's faster?
Yeah,
Wow.
if you add
Yeah.
that prime time Twilight bar, it can be a really fun. I don't
Yeah.
know of many sports that you can do that,
Yeah.
and be so street,
Yeah.
street fair with a bike race.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Paul, your thoughts behind it, behind choosing it, and I mean, are we, other than getting us extremely excited? you know?
Yeah, well, that's part of it, but the first 10 minutes of one is their DS was talking about the sacrifices that you make, and when you travel, and Jack and I were talking about it like the first time we rode together in a while, and just that excitement.
Don't even go there. You guys were chatting like two little schoolgirls
I know, and
for
that's
about 3.5 hours on Saturday.
It's something about because
I was just
we're
waiting for
both-
one of you to go.
well, I had to pee.
Yeah.
Maybe you got me all excited.
But I think it takes a certain creature to really you survive in that. It is a battle in there and bumping, that type of thing. But also I mentioned also in Velocast, John Galloway had what's his name, Chris Sidwell.
Yeah.
They were talking about this one particular racer, and then again I suggest people look that up. It's a great little podcast. But they were talking about how Kamases are so big in Belgium, and the community just turns out, and it's a good thing. And I think in the COVID times, my thought drifted off to the COVID times. This is maybe something that would really bring the community together.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the downtown criterium, and I was warming up on my rollers, and these people were coming from the carousel, and this little kid just sat there and watched me, and his dad's going, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Look," I mean, he was just that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the race, a gun goes off, the kid's just like, and he's probably 5, 6, 8 years old, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm a has-been, and he hadn't even seen the 1s, 2s when they were averaging, 29, 30 miles an hour.
How long's it been since Downtown Crit?
2012.
Yeah. I remember I was the announcer at that event, and I remember actually they opened the course for about 15 minutes at one point and let anybody ride the course, and there were little kids on the course,
Yeah.
and I made a point to go out there and high-five the kids as they're going by and things like that. And I mean, if you want to grow the sport, holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
First of all, yeah, you're going to piss off some drivers, but you're not going to piss off drivers like a road race. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna grow enthusiasm.
Yeah,
for the
you're
sport.
contain an area. It's not that big a deal to
Well,
shut it down.
the people involved are usually those who want tourism involved. Downtown area, we had downtown Spokane involved.
Well, the money that it
Yeah.
brings in, and people, the small percentage of people that see it as a pain in the ass versus the bars, the restaurants, the
Sure.
hotels, the all that benefit from an event, and it's like we have other events in Spokane that bring money to town. The Spokane is highly money
Gigantic event
driven.
town.
Yeah. So it's a perfect town for it.
Yeah. I would love to see that happen all over the U.S. again, and it'd be interesting to see what it would take for that. I mean, how large is the USA Crit Series? This is ignorance on my part, and then there are people who are probably going to give me
It's-
shit about it on social media, and I
Yeah.
probably deserve it for being a bike podcast.
I
and
think
not doing-
Athens used to be traditionally the start.
Yeah.
And then they worked their way, up, down. Somerville, I think, is part of it. Tulsa Tough. Boise.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's breaks, obviously breaks, but I haven't looked at the calendar for a long time because I'm not going to do those because I'm 58.
Oh, come
But
on.
Jackson, I'd love to hear your perspective on 2 if you get a chance, because I watched him in reverse order, and no offense to him, but and I've said it before. I said it's funny how the first one, and I'm the guy who probably swears the most on this show. The first film was, I was like, oh, this guy needs to use a different word than fuck. He's just fucking, and he kept throwing him out there, and I'm like, going, okay, stop, just tell me. And you could tell in the second film they were like, okay,
bridle it.
we understand that you like that word. Pull it back a little bit and tell us what you're feeling rather than using that word. And I thought the second one, the production value was better, and the footage is great too.
Yeah.
And it just shows they're documenting the races themselves a little bit more in depth. So I think it's cool. Jay, what do you think of them so far?
I really like them. I think they're entertaining, and it gives a different aspect of the racing, which is really fun as well.
Anybody in this room would be classify yourself as somebody who could just do crits?
Yeah.
Jack?
Totally.
Yeah?
I would.
Totally.
Jackson's like,
so
fuck,
much.
no. He's just looking at the camera going, no.
Yeah, there's so for me, traditionally, and I'm older than
You look.
but so the training for 100-mile road races with hills is so much different than crit racing. So I just would gravitate towards that just because of the.
Yeah.
It's not that it's
The
easy
intensity.
to.
Holy shit. Yeah.
The intensity's there, but the mileage and the it's just more. It'd be better on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackson?
Even when I was.
Jackson,
running.
you're a hell no.
No, I don't think so. I don't know if it would fit my style of riding, and it would take some time to bed in to get to that type of level.
Yeah. Right on. Well, I thought it was an interesting selection. What do you have for next week?
Another crit. Well,
Another
this
crit?
is
Well, yeah.
just because. Well, this last Saturday we're talking about how Jack and I were talking about all the crits, and that whole moment you're just on the razor's edge, the whole time.
Sure.
You're constantly bumping. You're working, against and forward, trying to find a line. We talked about, you found a way on that at Boise to attack, that type of thing short. That your whole time for 60 minutes, it is 30 miles an hour and on the edge and finding position. It's always a battle, and it's adrenaline. If you're an adrenaline junkie, that's where it's at.
It is very much an adrenaline.
So you're going for
it's NASCAR.
number 2, or?
Yeah, so there's a couple of them I'll probably put
Okay.
forth, and one of them is just kind of it's number one beast. It's Justin and Corey Williams' little collections, and it was just a collection of their crit, and you see how tight at 30 miles an hour these guys are, like literally shoving punt, and getting into position.
Wow.
Yeah, and then just seeing the sprint. Those two, Corey and Justin, have rockets in their legs. I mean, when they launch, and you're thinking, wait a minute, they were already. They must be doing 45 plus in the sprint.
Yeah,
it's
they got
amazing.
a nine
Yeah,
cog.
yeah, that's right.
9
Yeah.
tooth cogs.
I've grabbed, in Super Week, and it can be rough, like you said. I've grabbed people and literally
Shake 'em and-
fucking shake
yeah.
them. What the fuck you doing?
Yeah.
Type of thing. Just because I think you're pumped up. I mean, you're very much excited, and when you feel that, like that was you almost crashed us.
Yeah.
Karsten.
Oh.
Lane,
God, he's just gonna be like, you motherfuckers.
you almost crash. You rage. It's like almost getting hit by a car.
Sure.
And you just.
I call it my inner asshole. It does.
It does come out.
Everything
Even the
changes.
nicest people in a
Yeah.
crit
Yeah.
turn. I mean,
Yeah.
God, I can't remember. There was actually a fist fight at the end of one. It was over in Seattle.
All
It might
right, you
have
guys,
been
we're
down
gonna hold the story. We're gonna hold a story. We're now in 32
Seattle guy.
minutes. We're
Okay.
over 90
Goddamn
minutes into the show.
Seattle.
All right.
So there we go, you guys. That's it for this week. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. Coffee and comments on the YouTube channel. Posted today. One and only Jackson Bolger led that one today. Next week, I'm planning on some fun little ways to fuck it up, and so it should be kind of interesting. Jackson's weekly rides on Instagram TV, IGTV, correct, Jay? That's where you're posting them?
Yep, that's where they'll be.
Right on. And the Mojo Diaries right here on Packfiller. That is going to be released this week. First of a series of gravel-specific talks with the guys from Mojo who just leave their house and apparently just wander until they either run out of food or somebody clubs them over the head and brings them home.
Yeah.
So get ready for the Packfiller's approach to the news, which is my new thing coming very soon. Jackson Bolger, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Hurry up and move back. Jack Broadhead, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
That was a little creepy. A little gross. Paul Main, as usual, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.
And for all of our listeners, both live and listening to the recording, thank you so much. Stay tuned. Be sure and check out, I have to keep selling it, Club Packfiller, because it's like a third of the cost for the month of March and April. And swag bags are going out here in about 3 weeks. So that's it. Thanks, guys. Talk to you next time. That's off.
Creepy.
What's creepy?
Me, apparently.
Oh.
I have
But we
my
all
first
knew that.
rehearsal in 10 minutes.